Well, welcome, everybody. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We start with an invocation, which we observe by a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Agent. Halliburton.
Here.
Haney Keith.
Here.
Nash.
Here.
Said.
Here.
Willetts.
Here.
5 present, 1 absent.
And next up, we've got minutes for approval from August 22nd.
Madam Mayor, I move that the minutes of August 22nd at the noon meeting be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, clerk.
Haney Keith.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Said.
Yes.
Willetts.
Yes.
Halliburton.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
All right, before I move on to special business, sorry, I forgot that I had something to say. The public hearings that we have scheduled for today, numbers 1 and 2 are being deferred until September 19th. Both were overseen by a staffer who's had to step away for a family emergency. And then also there was a concern that there were some part of the record was missing from the, let's see, the number 3, the Belgravia. And so we will have those, put back in. So if anybody wants to leave now, you're welcome to. That's why I'm telling you now, but staff will have something to say about the deferral, both 2 and 3. So staff will have something to say about both, but I just wanted to let folks know in case you want to head out. We're not going to take testimony today based on an email we received from Victor Miller, concerned that something wasn't in the record. And the fact that Josh Wilson has had to step away. And because of the concern about the record with Josh not being here, we've opted to defer till the 19th. But staff will have a couple things to say for council at the time of those hearings. All right. Sorry, I meant to say that right away so you guys could leave if you wanted to. Next up, we've got under special business, the reappointment of Liz Urban to the Parks and Rec Commission. I want to say thanks to Liz for her service, and the Parks Director has been so pleased with her service and asked that she be appointed for a second term, or another term, I should say.
Madam Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that Liz Urban be reappointed to the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term ending in September 2026.
Without objection. All right. Liz is approved.
Is she online?
Is Liz online? Well, thank you, Liz, for your service and your willingness to serve again. Really appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, I might just make a quick comment. I've had the opportunity to serve with Liz as the liaison to the Parks and Rec Commission for the last several years. She currently serves as the president in that role, has done an absolutely amazing job. I think it's great for the city that she's willing to continue in that role. So big thank you to Liz Urban and congratulations. Next
up, we have the consent agenda. All items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence.
Madam Mayor, I move the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We had a work session today that was filled with a lot of exciting topics. So just before a vote, I want to call out that the documents related to the discussion we had on the Les Street redevelopment partnership with Boise State's in the room. I appreciate your partnership, as well as the park apartments that will provide homes for families exiting homelessness that we discussed on the work session are on this consent agenda. I really appreciate all the work that went into getting us to this point. And I'm looking at both of you from Boise State with a big smile because deeply appreciate the partnership and excited about what's ahead in this Gateway District and with so many different folks involved. So thank you. And with that, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Haney Keith.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Said.
Yes.
Willetts.
No.
Halliburton.
Yes.
Four in favor, one opposed, or sorry. Four in favor, one opposed, motion carries.
All right. Now we will move on to ordinances.
Madam Mayor, I move that further reading of all ordinances on the third reading calendar be dispensed with and the record reflect it has been read the third time in full.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second, clerk?
Haney Keith,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Willetts,
Yes.
Halliburton,
Yes.
all in favor, motion carries. ORD 29-23, an ordinance entitled the Annual Appropriation Ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, appropriating $1,172,107,394 deemed necessary to defray all expenses and liabilities of the city of Boise City, Idaho for said fiscal year, specifying the objects and purposes for which said appropriation is made, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, authorizing a levy of a sufficient tax upon the taxable property and providing an effective date. ORD 30-23, an ordinance declaring certain real property identified as Ada County Assessor's Parcel Number R7877860010 and located at 1250 West Dundee Street in Boise City, Ada County, Idaho, as underutilized or not used by the city for public purposes. Finding that the sale of the property is in the public interest, offering the sale of the property to an income eligible buyer, authorizing city officials and staff to do all things necessary to conduct the real property sale transaction and establishing an effective date. ORD 31-23, an ordinance declaring certain real property identified as Ada County Assessor's Parcel Number R1061600400 and located at 2728 West Cherry Lane in Boise City, Ada County, Idaho, as underutilized or not used by the city for public purposes. Finding that the sale of the property is in the public interest, offering the sale of the property to an income eligible buyer, authorizing city officials and staff to do all things necessary to conduct the real property sale transaction and establishing an effective date. ORD 32-23, an ordinance declaring certain real property identified as Ada County Assessor's Parcel Number R1061600360 and located at 2752 West Cherry Lane in Boise City, Ada County, Idaho, as underutilized or not used by the city for public purposes. Finding that the sale of the property is in the public interest, offering the sale of the property to an income eligible buyer, authorizing city officials and staff to do all things necessary to conduct the real property sale transaction and establish an effective date. ORD 33-23, an ordinance declaring certain real property identified as Ada County Assessor's Parcel Number R1061600250 and located at 2952 West Cherry Lane in Boise City, Ada County, Idaho, as underutilized or not used by the city for public purposes. Finding that the sale of the property is in the public interest, offering the sale of the property to an income eligible buyer, authorizing city officials and staff to do all things necessary to conduct the real property sale transaction and establishing an effective date. ORD 34-23, an ordinance amending Boise City Code Title 10, Chapter 2, Section 10-2-2-1 to delete unused definitions, to add additional definitions for clarification in the new deferral type, and amending other definitions. Amending Boise City Code Title 10, Chapter 2, Section 10-2-5-1 by striking some portion and adding additional language to clarify the requirements and exceptions for individual sewer connections. Amending Boise City Code Title 10, Chapter 2, Section 10-2-7-2 to add clarifying language for hardship discount. Amending Boise City Code Title 10, Chapter 2, Section 10-2-8 to provide general procedures for all deferral types, to add disqualifications for sewer connection fee deferrals, to renumber the subsections for deferral types, to amend provisions for certain deferral types, and to add a deferral of connection fees for affordable housing projects, approving a summary of the ordinance and providing an effective date.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance 29-23, ordinance 30-23, ordinance 31-23, ordinance 32-23, ordinance 33-23, and ordinance 34-23.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second, discussion? All righty, clerk, will you call the roll,
Haney
please?
Keith,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Willetts,
Yes.
Halliburton,
Yes.
all in favor, motion carries.
All right, we've got SOS 15 up first. David, welcome. Nice to see you. And then we've got the applicant, Aaron Rush. Great. We will, after, so what'll happen is David will go, I'll check, is anybody here to testify on this? Didn't think so. All right. I'll check in, see if you're in agreement with the terms and conditions staff report. We can determine then if you've got more to say. Is anybody online for this item? All right. Nope, I would expect is pretty straightforward. Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The applicant is requesting a partial vacation of a public utilities and drainage easement along the interior side yard property lines between lots 1 through 10, blocks 1 and 3 associated with the Abracadabra subdivision. The plat note identified a 5-foot interior utility easement is also being requested to be partially vacated. The subdivision is 3 acres in size and is generally located at 11400 West Mesquite Street within an R1C zone. As you can see from the aerial photograph, the property is located adjacent to residential developments to the north, east, and west. And there's also a future residential development that was approved adjacent to the south. The subdivision was recorded in 2023 and identified a 5-foot public utility and drainage easement along the interior lot lines. The Abracadabra subdivision was approved with the plan unit development, which granted reduced interior side setbacks of 3 feet. As such, the single-family homes for lots 1 through 10, block 1 and 3, were allowed to encroach 2 feet into the required 5-foot setback. However, the subdivision included a 5-foot public utility drainage easement along the interior lot lines. Therefore, the requested partial easement vacation would reduce the public utility drainage easement to 3 feet along the interior lines and which would match the building setbacks as approved by the PUD. The planning team finds the partial vacation of the public utility drainage easement to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. In summary, the letters of relinquishment from all utility companies servicing the vicinity have been received, and the easement locations are noted here on this slide, and the plat note that needs to be adjusted. In conclusion, the planning team recommends approval of the partial easement vacation and plat note vacation. Thank you.
Any questions for David? Mr. Rush, you're good? Good. All righty. I'll have the record reflect that he said we're good. And I'm going to just double check, make sure nobody's here for this. And go ahead and close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve SOS 23-00015, which is a partial vacation of a permanent public utility and drainage easement.
Second.
We have a motion, a second discussion.
Madam Mayor, I just want to note that this is in West Boise. I know this subdivision very well. In fact, my children went to daycare on this street. So it's a great part of West Boise, and I'm glad you're here today, and we can continue to make it even better.
Clerk, will you call the roll?
Haney Keith,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Willetts,
Yes.
Hallie Burton,
Yes.
all in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, just what happened? Oh, I can't see our team when you let that happen. David too. Yeah, thank you. So you've got something to say on both these deferrals?
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty quick. Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name is Jessica Zelag. I'm the Deputy Planning Director. The next item before you is DRH 23-00033. This is Royal Plaza Master Owners Association's appeal. Excuse me. Appeal of a design review committee approval to allow early morning concrete pours on a property in a C5DD central business with downtown design review overlay zone. The planning team is waiting for the planning and zoning verbatim hearing minutes to be completed so that we can include them in the council hearing packet. And as such, the planning team recommends City Council defer DRH 23-00033 to the September 19th, 2023 City Council hearing.
Great. I think we can take a motion on both after you've gone through the next one too.
Sure. All right, and the next item is DRH 22-00437. This is appeal of the Historic Preservation Commission's approval to construct a standalone prefabricated restroom facility in CW Moore on a property in an A1 HD open space with historic design review overlay zone. Written testimony from the applicant was inadvertently left out of the hearing packet. Planning team recommends deferring this item to ensure the materials can be included in the packet for City Council review to September 19th, 2023.
Okay. Excellent. We can pick up both in one motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we defer item DRH 23-33 and DRH 22-437 to September 19th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Clerk?
Haney Keith,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Stead,
Yes.
Willetts,
Yes.
Halliburton,
Yes.
all in favor, motion carries.
All right.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.